And for more analysis on that ruling, let's speak to Jae Moon. He's a distinguished professor at Yonsei University. Professor, let's get your initial reaction to that ruling. Did you expect that the court would uphold the impeachment, especially given that the judge took longer to deliver the ruling?
Well, I expected the impeachment is held, but if the actually, I was paying attention to not only the final verdict of the Constitutional Court, but also the detailed content of the Constitutional Court, whether or not the 8 judges really reached the unanimous decision on the impeachment, or actually they are split in different allegations made. So eventually, it was unanimous, and I think it's good to have that unanimous decision, and it really helps to deal with some of the ideological polarization. And I think there are a lot to be done in the future, but I think it's expectedly done.
Well, as you mentioned, polarization of the nation. Will most of the South Korean public be happy with the court's decision, you think?
Right. So that majority of the people expect to have the impeachment motion upheld, but it's also clear that there is a wide gap between the two opposing sides. So that here, progressive side, and then pro Yoon Suk-yeol president side. Well, it's ideological polarization has been deepening these days, and hopefully the final verdict today helped to reduce and the level of confrontation between the two sides. In fact, ideological polarization has been shifted from conventional polarization to effective polarization, characterized as growing emotional animosity between two opposing sides. So it really reduces the openness and constructive dialogue for the further engagement. And I think that's homework to be done in the future.
Well, we heard earlier that the Democratic Party is certainly accepting the ruling. What does Mr. Yoon's removal mean for the ruling party here? What kind of impact could it have on South Korea's political landscape?
Well, as said, once the impeachment motion was held by the Constitutional Court this morning, and then we should have presidential election within 60 days, which means that probably at the end of May or early June, so that it's a very busy election schedule, so that opposition party side, the Mr. Lee Jae-myung seems to be a very likely forerunner among the different candidates, but it's not clear who's going to be the candidate from the governing side, so that it'll be a competition for next 2 months. But more likely, opposition side might have a good chance. I think the recent by-election we had 2 days ago, the results actually suggest that the progressive side is earned pretty much support from the public, and they had landsliding victory over the by-elections.
Well, this is the only second presidential removal in South Korea's democratic era. What does it reveal about the country's constitutional checks and political maturity?
Well, I think it's unfortunate to have that impeachment, but I think there is his historic lessons from the two cases. The two cases are a little bit different, but it's sort of a deja vu. It's the first impeachment case was 8 years ago, and in fact, the impeachment motion was passed December 2016, and then we had election 2017 at the time in May, and now we have sort of a similar situation. We have election at the end of May or early June. I think it really revisits how the democracy and democratic principles should be held by the politicians, by the people. And I think the impeachment case is unfortunate, but I think this time it really demonstrates the democratic resilience of the Korean society. And I think that that's a good part.
Well, now that he's removed from office, but Mr. Yoon is still facing other legal
Right.
challenges, how could this ruling impact the
That's
criminal
true.
case against him?
So that official removal from the president's position, that's this morning, 12:02 a.m. But criminal charge will continue so that the court decision should be made for concerning his criminal charges. And I think that it will take time because there are several criminal charges against him as well as other collaborators. So that will be really big political issues from now on. But I think at this point, presidential election, that's the critical event in the coming 2 months. The new administration will face great challenges because this time we don't have a transition team because of the unique situations. So that the new president should be prepared for the growing challenges, domestic policy challenges, as well as geopolitical challenges. So that I think that there are a lot of things to be done and prepared by the new administration team.
Now, Professor, very quickly, how could this ruling impact South Korea's standing on the regional and global stage?
Well, South Korea has been struggling in establishing strategic positions in geopolitical dynamics and growing policy challenges. Now the verdict is done, so that we hope that we move to the next chapter, and hopefully as we demonstrated the political, social, economic resilience in the face of different crises before. Hopefully, we do demonstrate again, and I think that's my hope, and I have a strong belief in that.
Well, thank you very much for your insights, Professor. We've been speaking to Jae Moon, Distinguished Professor at Yonsei University. Thank you.